Let's start off talking about the formation of the early labor movement. Mexican Americans often received less pay than their Anglo-American counterparts for doing the exact same work. This is known as the Mexican scale or the Mexican wage scale. Many Mexican Americans wanted to fight back against these unfair conditions, but in some cases they would not be accepted into some unions, such as the American Federation of Labor, which would only accept white skilled workers. They wouldn't accept Mexican skilled laborers. So that put Mexican Americans at a disadvantage in trying to fight back against unfair work conditions. But still, Mexican Americans would find ways to organize themselves and eventually would find acceptance into several different labor unions. When Mexican Americans did begin to organize, they had several different demands that were high on their list. One is, of course, they wanted better pay, equal pay with Anglo-Americans. They also wanted to end discrimination, right, that they received because of their race, racial discrimination. And later on, they also wanted to restrict more immigration from migrants coming from Mexico because these migrants often brought down their wages or took their jobs or acted as strike breakers during strikes, right? They would hire Mexican migrants to take the place of Mexican Americans who were striking, right? So let's talk about early worker organization and strikes that happened early on in the 1900s. One organization that did support the labor rights of Mexican Americans was the Industrial Workers of the World, or the IWW, also known as the Wobblies. We'll just call them the IWW for short. Now, the IWW wanted to organize both Mexican Americans and Mexican migrant workers into one large union. And one incident where the IWW got involved was the Wheatland strike. Wheatland's located outside of Sacramento. There was a ranch there called Durst Ranch that grew hops, which is, used to make beer. And they wanted to harvest this hops, and so they advertised that they needed workers, farm workers, to come and harvest the hops. Well, when more farm workers arrived than they could accommodate, they forced the remaining farm workers to live in horrible conditions, right? These horrible makeshift conditions, and they even charged them rent. And so you'll see workers who will eventually strike because of those living conditions and the fact that they weren't paid the same amount that they were promised when Durst Ranch originally advertised the job. And so these protests, these strikes, which are organized by the IWW, will involve both Mexican Americans as well as Anglo-Americans. And eventually, when the sheriff and the district attorney are brought in to arrest leaders of the strike, leaders of the IWW, this will break out in the Hop Fields riot. And so basically, in the end, the district attorney and a sheriff's deputy will be killed, as well as a couple of farm workers, and that will bring an end to the Wheatland strike. Now, the violence and uproar caused by the riot will eventually lead the governor of California to organize the California Commission on Immigration and Housing. And this commission found that Durst Ranch was in violation of offering adequate housing for the farm workers. But ultimately, the commission did not really change the working and living conditions for farm workers in California at this time.